Are you truly living your own life? Or are you just reacting to the world around you? How many times have you picked up your phone, scrolled through social media, only to feel like you're not enough? How many dreams have you once held close, only to delay them, postpone them, abandon them? Because you kept comparing, kept procrastinating, kept letting other people control the time that was supposed to be yours? If you've ever felt lost, drained, directionless, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to come back. Back to yourself. Today, we're going to walk through 10 timeless principles from Stoic philosophy to learn how to refocus on you and stop wasting your precious time on things that don't deserve it. 1. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried away, and another follows and is gone. Marcus Aurelius. Let's be honest. Every man, at some point, looks back and wonders where all his time went. He wonders why the days feel like they're passing faster, why the years start to blur, and why, no matter how hard he works, there's always this lingering feeling that something is missing, that he's busy, but not fulfilled, that he's moving, but not progressing, that he's reacting to life instead of directing it. If that's you, you're not alone. But you need to hear this. Time is not just money. Time is your life. Every second you waste is a piece of your existence, gone forever. You can earn back money. You can rebuild your health. You can repair a relationship. But the one thing no man, no matter how rich, strong, or powerful, has ever bought back is time. So here's the question. Where is your time going? How many hours have you spent scrolling through the lives of people who don't even know you exist? How many mornings have you hit snooze, not because you were tired, but because you lacked direction? How many moments have you given away to distractions, fake obligations, or people who drain your energy and offer nothing in return? Be honest with yourself. Because every day you spend living someone else's agenda is a day you don't get to live your own. Every time you say yes to things that don't matter, you're saying no to the life that does. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. They didn't chase perfection or waste their energy worrying about things beyond their control. Instead, they mastered one thing: how they used their time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not squander what's left of your life in speculating about others, unless it directly benefits the common good. It will distract you from doing anything useful." He wasn't just talking about gossip. He was talking about focus, mental discipline, intentional living. Because when a man loses his focus, he loses his time. And when he loses his time, he loses his power. So if you're tired of feeling like life is passing you by, if you're done with feeling scattered, distracted, pulled in 100 directions, then now is the moment to reclaim control. To stop giving away your time to everything and everyone else. To stop reacting and start living with purpose. Not tomorrow. Not when things slow down. Now. Here's how it begins. Audit your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Eliminate the meaningless and double down on what moves you forward. Learn to protect your calendar like you protect your family. Stop explaining your boundaries. Start enforcing them. Understand that focus is not just productivity, it's self-respect. And above all, don't wait for a crisis to remind you what matters. You don't need to hit rock bottom to change. You just need to decide, today, that your time is worth something. Because it is. It's worth everything. Life is short. That's all there is to say. Get what you can from the present, thoughtfully and justly. Marcus Aurelius. You were not born to live on autopilot. You were not made to chase likes, argue online, or numb your potential with constant noise. You were built to build, to create, to lead, to live on purpose. The clock is ticking. Make it count. 2. Comparison is the thief of your work. So yes, time is your most valuable asset. But here's the hidden danger. It's not just being wasted by distractions. It's being drained by something quieter, more subtle, more poisonous. It's being drained every time you compare your life to someone else's. You scroll through social media. You see his house, his car, his vacation, his physique, his perfect relationship. And before you even realize it, your mind is no longer focused on your path. It's trapped in his. Your progress feels small. Your goals feel silly. Your confidence starts to shrink. And you haven't even left the couch. That's the silent cost of comparison. It doesn't just steal your time. It steals your worth. It hijacks your identity and replaces it with someone else's. But here's the truth the Stoics understood. You were never meant to compete with anyone but yourself. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Don't waste time debating what a good man should be. Just be one. What does that mean? It means real growth doesn't come from watching others. It comes from watching yourself, from tracking your own progress, from building your own values, from staying rooted in your own damn life. You don't need to look successful to be fulfilled. You don't need to chase the metrics of the world to feel whole. The only scoreboard that matters is your own. And when you constantly compare your life to others, you're playing a game you can never win. Because you're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You're measuring your real, messy, beautiful humanity against a curated illusion. That's not just unfair. It's destructive. So what do? You reclaim your mental space. You rebuild the walls around your focus. You stop asking, am I ahead of him? And start asking, am I ahead of who I was yesterday? You unplug from fake pressure. You unsubscribe from perfection. And you go all in on the only thing you can actually control. Yourself. Your habits. Your discipline. Your integrity. Your growth. You stop chasing the image of what a man should look like and start crafting the man you're meant to become. Because in the end, it's not about how you stack up against others. It's about whether you're building a life you're proud to live. A life that aligns with your values. And not some trending aesthetic. Here's the mindset shift. You are not behind. You are on your path. No one else can walk it for you. And no one else can take it from you. So walk it with confidence. With focus. With purpose. Actionable next steps? Take a break from comparison triggers. Unfollow. Mute. Log out. Reflect on what you value, not what the algorithm told you to value. Define success in your own terms, not someone else's. Track your growth weekly, not by results, but by effort. And finally, replace comparison with curiosity. Not why am I not like him? But what's one thing I can improve today to be a stronger version of me tomorrow? You want to feel powerful? Then stop giving your power away. Comparison turns your attention outward. But everything you need is already within. Bring it back. He who envies others does not find peace. Epictetus. Your worth is not something you earn by looking like them. It's something you build, day by day, by showing up for yourself. So stop scrolling. Stop comparing. And start creating a life that makes you look in the mirror and say, I respect that man. 3. Self-awareness, the starting point of all transformation. So you've stopped comparing. You've pulled your attention back from the noise, the illusions, the distractions. You've unplugged from everyone else's definition of success. Now what? You stand there, just you and your life. No filters. No noise. No measuring sticks. And for the first time in a long time, you're not looking outward. You're finally looking inward. This is where the real work begins. Because you can't improve what you're not aware of. And you can't grow if you don't know where you're starting from. That's why self-awareness isn't optional, it's essential. It's not fluffy. It's not spiritual. It's not about journaling under candlelight with a lo-fi playlist. It's about having the courage to look yourself in the eye and ask, who am I, really? What drives me? What's holding me back? Where am I strong? Where am I hiding? The Stoics were warriors of the mind. They didn't seek comfort, they sought clarity. They didn't avoid discomfort, they embraced it as a mirror. If you want to improve, Epictetus said, be content to be thought foolish and stupid about things you don't yet know. That's humility. That's power. That's the foundation of transformation. Self-awareness isn't about perfection. It's about truth. It's about knowing what you stand for. What triggers you? What patterns you keep repeating? Even when they sabotage you. Because when you become aware of your patterns, you gain the power to rewrite them. Think about it. You can't build strength if you don't know where you're weak. You can't set goals that matter if you don't know what fulfills you. And you'll never feel in control if you're still lying to yourself about who's really in charge of your life. Here's a cold truth. Most men aren't stuck because they lack potential. They're stuck because they refuse to confront the truth of where they are. But not you. You're here because you want to change. Not in a week. Not in a month. Now. And change starts with honesty. Radical, no BS, face-to-mirror honesty. It's not always pretty. But it's the most masculine, courageous, necessary thing you'll ever do. So how do you build self-awareness? Sit with silence. No distractions. No noise. Just you and your thoughts. Audit your habits, what patterns serve you, and which ones sabotage you. Ask yourself uncomfortable questions. And don't rush to answer them. Reflect without judgment. Awareness comes before improvement. Seek feedback from people who don't flatter you, but tell you the truth. Because when you start to see yourself clearly, you stop being afraid of yourself. And that's when everything changes. Be tolerant with others, but strict with yourself. Marcus Aurelius. Not strict in a punishing way. Strict in a disciplined, purposeful, self-respecting way. You become your own coach. Your own commander. Your own compass. You stop floating through life hoping things get better. You start directing your energy where it matters. Self-awareness is power. But it's also peace. Because when you know yourself, you stop needing to prove yourself. You stop chasing. You stop hiding. You stop making decisions based on insecurity or fear of judgment. You become a man who knows where he stands. And that kind of man is rare in this world. So take the time. Make the space. Get honest with yourself. Even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Because this is where transformation truly begins. And no one else can do this work for you. The man you want to become? He's not out there. He's already inside you. Waiting for you to face him. 4. Focus on progress, not perfection. So now, you face the mirror. You've asked the hard questions. You've started telling yourself the truth. That's powerful. But here's what often happens next. You see where you are, and you don't like it. You see how far you have to go, and it feels overwhelming. So instead of moving forward, you freeze. Why? Because you've bought into one of the most toxic lies society sells. That you have to be perfect to be worthy. Let's get one thing straight. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to progress. To evolve. To grow, day by day, step by step. Perfection is a trap. It's a moving target. It's a finish line that keeps running away the moment you get close. The pursuit of perfection doesn't make you better. It makes you afraid. Afraid to start. Afraid to try. Afraid to fail. And guess what? If you're afraid to fail, you're already failing. The Stoics didn't chase perfection. They chased discipline, integrity, resilience. They didn't measure their worth by how flawless they appeared, but by how faithfully they acted, even in chaos. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. There must be time. Give it time." Progress is not loud. It's not sexy. It's not always visible. It's in the decision to get up earlier today than yesterday. It's in choosing discipline over comfort just once more than you did last week. It's in showing up when no one's watching. You want to change your life? Good. But don't expect overnight transformation. Expect daily iterations. Because greatness isn't born from huge leaps. It's built in the small, consistent, often invisible reps no one else sees. That's what real men do. They stack quiet victories. They stay the course. They don't post about it. They live it. So ask yourself, are you willing to be a beginner again and again? Are you willing to look imperfect while you grow? Are you willing to stay patient while the seed becomes a tree? Because if you are, you're already ahead of 90% of people. Most quit because they expect results too soon. They want the body in 30 days. The mindset in 10 affirmations. The business in one launch. But the Stoic man knows. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. The mess is part of the method. The failure is part of the formation. The progress is the process. Here's what to do now. Track habits, not outcomes. Build momentum you can feel. Set micro goals. Stack tiny wins. They compound faster than you think. Celebrate effort, not image. Effort builds character. Image builds ego. Forgive your off days, but never excuse them. Learn, adjust, move on. Show up especially when you don't feel like it. That's where identity shifts. Because discipline without emotion is strength. And strength without ego is what Stoicism is all about. You want to live a life that earns your own respect? Then show up flawed. Show up uncertain. Show up messy. But don't stop showing up. Because perfection will paralyze you. But progress will free you. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be better than yesterday. And if you fall short, fall forward. Fail like a man who's building something real. Not pretending to have it all figured out. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. That good man? He's not perfect. But he's intentional. He's consistent. He's relentless in his progress. And that's what makes him unshakable. 5. Memento Mori, remember you will die. So now you've let go of perfection. You're focused on showing up, day by day, step by step. You're learning to live inside the process, not chase the illusion. But even with progress, even with growth, there's still something else you need to face. Something we all try to outrun. Something we push to the back of our minds until we're forced to confront it. Death. And before you look away, listen closely. Because this is not about fear. It's about freedom. Memento Mori, remember you will die. It's not a threat. It's a compass. It's not a reason to despair. It's a reason to live with clarity. Because when you remember that this life is finite, you stop wasting time pretending it's not. The average man walks through life like he has forever. He delays the hard conversations. He avoids the bold decisions. He puts off the things that matter most until later. But later is not promised. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Not even an hour from now. And that realization? It's not depressing, it's liberating. When you accept that time is short, you stop spending it like it's unlimited. You stop saying yes to obligations that drain you. You stop tolerating relationships that disrespect you. You stop building a life that looks good on the outside, but feels hollow inside. You start choosing differently. With urgency. With focus. With purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." That's not dark. That's discipline. Because when you remember that the clock is ticking, you start living like it matters. You stop needing permission. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop chasing immortality through status, fame, or empty achievement. Instead, you chase meaning, presence, excellence. Not for applause, but because this moment is all you've got. Here's what memento mori looks like in practice. You speak the truth because you might not get another chance. You take the risk because regret lasts longer than fear. You tell people you love them because you don't know which goodbye is final. You pursue purpose because life is too short to waste on the superficial. You act now because someday is the most dangerous word you know. You stop drifting. You stop deferring. You start deciding. Here's the paradox. When you remember you will die, you finally start to live. Not recklessly. Not selfishly. But intentionally. Because the truth is, you don't need more time. You need more clarity about what really matters. And that clarity comes when you face the one thing you've been taught to avoid. The end. Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back. Marcus Aurelius. So the question is, will you keep pretending you have time? Or will you look death in the eye and let it sharpen your focus? You're not here to last forever. But you are here to leave something that does. A standard. A legacy. A life of integrity. And it starts by remembering. This life is short. So live it wide. 6. Harness the power of silence and solitude to rebuild inner strength. So you face death. Not with fear, but with focus. Not as a threat, but as a call to live deeper. But here's the next challenge. In a world addicted to noise, where attention is currency and distraction is the norm, can you be still? Can you sit with silence without reaching for your phone? Can you be alone without feeling lost? Can you walk through solitude, not as a victim, but as a man in the process of becoming unshakable? Because here's the truth. Growth doesn't always happen in motion. Sometimes it happens in stillness. We live in an age where silence is uncomfortable. We've been conditioned to believe that if we're not constantly connected, constantly responding, constantly doing, we're falling behind. But real strength, true inner resilience, doesn't come from being everywhere, with everyone, all the time. It comes from being centered, from knowing yourself when no one's around, from having the courage to meet your own thoughts without running. A man who is never alone cannot know himself. Seneca. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's not isolation. It's a sanctuary. It's where you listen to the quiet truths, the ones that get drowned out in the chaos of everyday life. In solitude, you confront what you've been avoiding, the regret you buried under work, the pain you masked with distractions, the dreams you've delayed for the sake of comfort. And in silence, you remember what matters, who you are, who you want to become. Because there's no audience in solitude, no applause, no comparison, just clarity. Most men fear being alone because it forces them to face what's real. But the Stoic man? He welcomes it. He uses it. He carves out time not just to recover, but to rebuild. Because silence isn't emptiness. It's power waiting to be accessed. It's focus waiting to be sharpened. It's your mind finally given room to breathe. You want to lead? Then learn to stand alone. You want clarity? Then mute the world and listen inward. You want strength? Then stop escaping solitude and enter it on purpose. Because a man who can master silence is a man who can master himself. How to practice this? Schedule time to disconnect completely. No screens. No noise. Just you. Go on long walks without headphones. Let your thoughts rise and fall. Reflect in a journal, not to perform, but to process. Sit still for 10 minutes a day. No goal. Just awareness. Treat solitude not as punishment, but as a discipline. Because stillness is not weakness. It's a weapon when used with intention. Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Marcus Aurelius. The world will pull at you. People will demand pieces of you. But in the end, you are your own foundation. And if that foundation is cracked, if your soul is restless, if your spirit is always outsourced to noise, you'll collapse the moment life hits hard. But when you train in solitude, you become the man who holds steady, no matter what shakes. You don't have to isolate to find power. You just have to be still long enough to remember you already have it. So turn down the volume of the world and tune into the strongest voice you've got. Your own. 7. Eliminate distractions. Guarding your time is self-respect. MEMENTO 6. So now, you've learned the strength of silence. You've faced your thoughts, embraced solitude, and discovered clarity in stillness. But now comes the test. Because as soon as you step back into the noise of the world, the distractions return. The temptations return. The little thieves that don't steal your money or your health. They steal your time. And if you're not vigilant, they'll steal your life one scroll, one meaningless meeting, one energy-sucking conversation at a time. Here's the hard truth. Most men aren't overwhelmed because they're doing too much. They're overwhelmed because they're doing too much of the wrong things. Distractions don't always look like distractions. They look like just checking my phone for a second. They look like I'll answer this one email. They look like I have to say yes, or they'll think I don't care. But those small leaks, they drain your day. They scatter your focus. They rob you of depth, momentum, and mastery. You cannot build a focused life on a foundation of scattered attention. And here's what the Stoics knew. Your time is your most precious possession. Guard it like your legacy depends on it, because it does. Seneca said it bluntly. People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. We fight to protect our homes. We lock our cars. We put passwords on our phones. But our time? We give it away, freely, carelessly, to anyone or anything that asks for it loudly enough. That has to stop. Because guarding your time isn't selfish. It's not rude. It's not antisocial. Guarding your time is self-respect in action. It's a declaration to yourself and the world that you value your energy. You have purpose. You know where you're going. And you're not available for nonsense. So how do you reclaim your time? Audit your life like a minimalist audits his possessions. If it doesn't serve a purpose, enhance your peace, or align with your values, cut it. Turn off notifications. Your phone should not have more access to your attention than your purpose does. Say no without guilt. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Create protected time blocks. Even 90 minutes of focused time can outperform 9 hours of distracted effort. Treat your calendar like sacred ground. Don't let people book your life just because you're free. Free time isn't free, it's fuel for what matters. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca. Every minute you guard, every hour you protect, every distraction you eliminate, is a vote for the man you're becoming. A man who doesn't just talk about purpose. He schedules it. He prioritizes it. He shows up for it. Because that's what discipline looks like in a world of temptation. Let them call you strict. Let them say you're unavailable. Let them wonder why you don't engage in every trend, every invite, every debate. You're not here to be accessible. You're here to be exceptional. And that requires focus. That requires standards. That requires boundaries. So guard your time not like it's just part of your day, but like it's a piece of your soul. Because it is. And once it's gone, you don't get it back. 8. Learn to say no with strength and respect. MEMENTO 7. So now, you've started guarding your time. You've trimmed the distractions. You've taken back your focus. But there's one more layer to this boundary. And it's the one that trips up even the strongest men. It's the word most of us were never taught to use with confidence. No. 2 letters. 1 syllable. But a lifetime of guilt, pressure, and people-pleasing wrapped around it. Because let's be honest. Saying yes feels easier at first. But saying yes to everyone is slowly saying no to yourself. Here's what the Stoics understood that most modern men forget. You cannot live a focused, meaningful life if you cannot say no. No is not rejection. It's direction. It's not a wall. It's a gate to protect what matters most. Why is it so hard to say no? Because we fear disapproval. We crave acceptance. We don't want to be misunderstood, judged, or called selfish. But here's the brutal truth. A man who says yes to everything will eventually become nothing to himself. He'll lose his identity in the noise. He'll become a reflection of others' expectations, not a representation of his own values. And that's not leadership. That's emotional slavery. So what does it look like to say no like a Stoic? It's not aggressive. It's not dramatic. It's not disrespectful. It's clear. It's grounded. It's non-negotiable. You don't explain yourself to earn permission. You state your boundary with calm strength. And you let your life speak louder than your justifications. Because here's the truth. A man with purpose is never at the mercy of guilt. He knows that every no is a yes to something deeper. His time. His integrity. His health. His mission. His family. His peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's clarity. That's self-trust. And that's the standard you need to hold when it comes to your time, energy, and commitments. How do you build the muscle to say no? Practice it in low-stakes situations. Decline that unnecessary meeting. Skip the group chat. Replace vague excuses with simple truth. That doesn't align with my priorities right now. Remind yourself, someone's disappointment is not your responsibility. Journal the long-term cost of every people-pleasing yes you've said. Let it sink in. Learn to sit in discomfort. The strength isn't in avoiding guilt, it's in not obeying it. Because every time you say no with clarity, you become a man who leads his life rather than being led by it. Saying no doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your purpose, your standards, your future, to not give them away for cheap approval. Let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. Let them get uncomfortable. Because here's the irony. The more you respect your no, the more others will start to respect your yes. So stop shrinking to keep the peace. Stop bending to keep the room comfortable. Your life isn't a democracy. It's a mission. And missions require focus, not permission. 9. Confidence and patience are the foundation of endurance. You've learned to say no. You've drawn the line. You've stopped letting guilt shape your schedule and others' needs dictate your time. But now the real test begins. Can you stay the course when nothing happens right away? Because setting boundaries is one thing. Maintaining them, living them, staying rooted in them when there's no instant result, that's where most men fall. They want the transformation now, the reward now, the validation now. But life, especially a life of meaning, doesn't work like that. The Stoics understood something most people today forget. Real progress is slow. Real growth is invisible. And real strength is built in silence. It takes confidence to walk a path that doesn't deliver quick wins. It takes patience to keep going when no one is watching, clapping, or validating. It takes something deeper than motivation. It takes endurance. No great thing is created suddenly. Epictetus. The modern world tells you to hustle harder, move faster, do more. But a man of virtue knows speed doesn't guarantee direction. You can be sprinting toward emptiness. You can be grinding for things that don't matter. What matters isn't just that you're moving, but that you're moving with clarity. And when you're clear on where you're going, you don't need to rush. You need to endure. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need approval. It simply knows. Knows that every small act of discipline is a seed. Knows that results may be delayed, but growth is never wasted. Knows that time is your ally when your foundation is strong. So what does real confidence look like? It looks like showing up for your morning routine when no one will ever know. It looks like training your body even when the mirror hasn't changed yet. It looks like choosing patience over panic when business is slow. It looks like trusting the mission, especially on days that feel meaningless. Because here's the hard truth. Most men give up not because they're weak, but because they didn't respect the timeline of greatness. Patience doesn't mean sitting around. It means doing the work without needing a gold star to keep going. It means knowing that one day, the hours you invested, the nights you stayed consistent, the boundaries you defended, the values you lived, will compound into something that no one can take from you. That's endurance. That's masculinity. That's what Stoicism is about. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." He didn't say do the right thing when it feels good, or when it pays off fast, or when it gets you praise. Just do the right thing. And keep doing it. How do you build this kind of endurance? Stop measuring daily results. Start measuring daily integrity. Reframe slow progress as lasting transformation. Develop internal scorecards. Did I act with discipline today? Did I move with virtue? Choose process over payoff. Mastery over applause. Let time work for you, not against you. Because patience is the weapon of the man who knows he's playing a long game. You want to become unshakable? You want to build a life that stands the test of time? Then combine confidence and your values with patience in your process. That's what makes a man reliable. That's what makes him respected. That's what makes him immovable. So keep going. Not because it's easy. Not because it's glamorous. But because it's right. And the man who keeps doing what's right, long after it stops being exciting, is the man who will own a life others only dream of. 10. Focus on virtue, not outcome. So now, you've learned to endure. To trust the process, not the pace. To walk forward with quiet confidence. And hold the line with patience while the world screams for shortcuts. But here's the final piece. the one that binds everything together. You must stop chasing outcomes and start living by virtues. Because outcomes, they're unstable. They shift. They lie. Success can fade. Money can vanish. Status can turn on you in an instant. But virtue lasts. In the eyes of the Stoics, virtue isn't optional. It's the measure of a man. Not how much you've achieved, but how you show up when it matters most, and especially when it doesn't. Virtue means living in alignment with truth. It means you act not because it gets results, but because it's the right thing to do. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. It's not about getting the promotion. It's about leading with integrity. It's not about becoming rich. It's about being generous when no one's looking. It's not about winning every battle. It's about keeping your character intact when the pressure's on. The modern world will tell you, you are what you produce. You are what others think. You are the outcome. But that's a lie. You are not your numbers. You are not your image. You are not how many people clap when you walk in the room. You are your choices. You are your values. You are the standard you live by when no one else is watching. When you measure yourself by virtue, not results, you stop living for external validation. You stop bending your principles for applause. You stop compromising who you are just to win a short-term game. You start playing the infinite game. The one where you wake up and respect the man in the mirror, even if the world doesn't recognize what you're building. That's freedom. That's power. That's true success. So what are the virtues? The Stoics named 4. Wisdom, making decisions with clarity, not emotion. Courage, acting in truth, even when it costs you. Temperance, choosing balance over indulgence. Justice, doing what's right, not what's easy. These are not abstract ideas. They are your compass, your armor, your inner code when everything outside of you feels unstable. How to live by virtue daily. Ask before every decision, is this aligned with my values or just my ego? Choose long-term respect over short-term comfort. Speak the truth, even when it shakes the room. Keep your promises to others and, more importantly, to yourself. Let your actions speak so loudly, you don't need to explain your worth. Because in the end, your outcomes will fade. But your character, that's what remains. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. When you stop chasing what's outside of your control and start mastering what's inside, you don't just become more successful. You become untouchable. No one can guarantee what tomorrow holds, but you can guarantee how you'll show up. Not perfectly, but virtuously. Not to impress, but to embody the man you were meant to be. Focus on virtue. Let go of the outcome. Because the man who lives by principle, even in the dark, will always walk in light. If you've been trading your time for things that no longer deserve it, if you feel like you've been living someone else's life instead of your own, then stop. Right now. You don't need more advice. You need a commitment. A quiet promise to yourself. I will no longer let my time slip away for things that don't matter. You have the right, and more than that, the responsibility, to focus on yourself, to build your inner strength, to live with intention, and to become the man you would respect if you met him. Drop a comment below. Which principle from this video will you start applying today? And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to hit like to help spread the Stoic message further. And tap subscribe so you don't miss more content on minimalist mindset, practical stoicism, and the path of personal mastery for the modern man. You don't have to start perfectly. You just have to start intentionally. I'll see you in the next video. There's a stronger, sharper, more focused version of you waiting on the other side.